People around the world and the state of Israel face challenges we haven't seen in decades, sometimes deadly challenges. Over a century ago, Theodor Herzl predicted what would happen to European Jews long before the Holocaust. Herzl, more than anyone else, understood the absolute need that the Jewish people must return to their ancestral homeland. If not for Herzl, there would be no Israel, the one nation on earth that will always protect Jewish people. No questions asked. And in spite of the avalanche of lies that are hurled at us every day, I will say unequivocally that Israel is the most just, the most honorable, and the most decent nation one can be proud of. I want to thank the Herzl chairs, Chela Safra and Aaron Frankel, co-chairs David Koshitsky and Miriam Edelson, and our honorary chair, David de Rothschild. I want to thank all of you who are here tonight, including a very special person in our audience, Tova Friedman. Tova is the most famous living Auschwitz survivor with over 1 million TikTok followers. Tova, please stand. It has been the greatest honor of my life to serve as the president of the World Jewish Congress. For the past 18 years, I have been very proud, and the two individuals we honor tonight, Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman and New York Congressman Elisa Vanek. Two officials on the national stage who defied the onslaught against us and stood up to the frightening rise of anti-Semitism and the hatred of Zionism. When others were silent, or worse, when some members of Congress sided with the terror groups, Senator Fetterman and Congressman Stefanik raised their voices loudly and clearly against the rising storm that has engulfed our nation and the world. Never have friends been more important. I cannot think of two more stalwart friends than these two individuals. Senator Fetterman cannot be with us in person this evening because he is voting to end the government shutdown, and he will join us on video. Congresswoman Stefanik is right here. And to both of them, we are so grateful. For the past 2 years, the World Jewish Congress has held this dinner in the shadow of a devastating war. But this year is different. The hostages have returned, those who were not murdered. And for that, we are so grateful. Gaza's future is still unclear, but at least for now, the war has stopped, Hezbollah has been defeated, and Israel's greatest threat, the Iran nuclear bomb, has been destroyed by the brilliance of Israel's military and by the unsurpassed power of the United States of America and its president. And for that, we're all very grateful. But there is something else that cannot be ignored. October 7th wasn't just the greatest slaughter of our people since the Holocaust. October 7th also unleashed a wave of anti-Semitism around the world, and especially in Europe, and right here in the United States. But this was no accident. It was all pre-planned. Just as October 7th, massacre was pre-planned. So were the massive demonstrations around the world. The October 7th attack was a signal for them to begin. On October 7th, the Eiffel Tower, the Brandenburg Gate, and the Empire State Building shined the Israeli flag of solidarity. But the very next day, there were mass demonstrations against Israel in all three cities. All this pre-planned and paid for. These demonstrations were not just against Israel, but against Western civilization. And there are places where this new hatred of Jews so surprises us. A college education for our children has been a Jewish goal since the first immigrants stepped off their boats on Ellis Island. Yet now, college campuses across the country have become war zones for Jewish students. Again, this did not happen by accident. Again, it was pre-planned and very well paid for. And it took a chapter from history. When Lenin took over Russia in 1917, the first thing he did was take control of the schools and turn them into indoctrination centers for communism. When Hitler took power in 1933, his first task, fire all Jewish teachers, kick out all Jewish students, and indoctrinate Germany's youth in Nazism. We know now that over the past 25 years, Israel haters, backed by billions of dollars from abroad and right here at home, have focused on indoctrinating our young people against Israel, the Jewish people, and Western civilization. This was done in two ways, through Middle East studies departments. This was staffed by professors with an anti-Israel bias. And secondly, by flooding colleges with foreign students who were trained to hate Israel and the West. But this didn't happen just in our colleges. But even in K through 12, we've seen maps that have completely erased the state of Israel in elementary schools. And from the very start, children are now taught in these schools that Israel is a colonialist and apartheid regime. So we shouldn't be surprised to see the huge age divide in recent elections and the pro-Hamas demonstrations in US and Western Europe. Our young people have been taught to hate everything we stand for, and ironically, everything that has given them a wonderful life. In 1936, when the World Jewish Congress was created, those Jewish leaders did not have the power and influence, and frankly, the money to save the Jews of Israel. Today it's different. We have all three. So what is all we need for you to join me in this fight? I thought I could do it alone, but our enemies are focused, and they are very well endowed. It's a fight for our children's future, and it's one we can't lose. We have to be equally focused and determined. Here's my answer to the war in education. First, we intend to create more Jewish schools throughout America and the world, and I need your help. Our children and grandchildren must always understand the incredible legacy they received the day they were born, and always be able to stand up to the vicious lies. That can only be done through education. The leaders who are spearheading the drive for Jewish schools and schools in all throughout Europe are Josh Spinner, who brilliantly ran my schools in Eastern and Central Europe, and Hadassah Halpern, who is helping to build more Jewish schools here in the United States. I'd like you to all know them. Josh, Hadassah, please stand up so everyone can see you. I hope they're here. I can't see them. Are you here? Okay. But Jewish schools are not enough. The entire education system in this country, from K through 12 and colleges, must be reformed. Laws must be passed that will focus on three things: no racism, no anti-Semitism, and no anti-Western civilization should be taught here. I need to remind you that anti-Semitism is not new. Even here in the United States, it's just that we haven't seen it in 3 generations. But in the 1930s, there was a strong, vocal, and even pro-Nazi movement that captured the public attention with famous names like Charles Lindbergh and Father Conklin, the radio priest with millions of listeners who attacked us every single day. Father Conklin was the Tucker Carlson of the 1930s, and radio was the TikTok and YouTube of the era. Henry Ford, the industrialist and multimillionaire, was another anti-Semitine. Even President Roosevelt, who was seen as an ally of the Jewish people, closed Americans' doors to Jews in Europe who were desperate to find a country, any country, that would take them in. Today, we see a similar pattern playing right in front of our eyes. Big names with millions of followers are using the same old lies that Jews control the government, the media, our nation's foreign policies. The same lies our parents and grandparents heard, only now it's been adopted by young people who've been indoctrinated in this. We must retake our schools. It's only a question of money, laws. We lost one generation that's been brainwashed. We cannot afford to lose another. Our other huge challenge, how we have allowed our enemies to define us. We now have to fight these lies that are all over the internet, that have also brainwashed too many people. We intend to retake the high ground of public relations. It's high time we just define who we are and not let our enemies define us. The World Jewish Congress will focus on all of its strength on this fight. For too long, we have ignored it, and now we see the terrible results. It's time we fight back with an even stronger PR and to tell the truth of what happened and what is happening. It's also time to tell the world the truth about our enemies. If Israel doesn't want to do this, we in the diaspora will do the job. Here again, we need your help because it's a huge effort. Our enemies are ahead of us. They are working for decades, and we must catch up and surpass them. This is important. The hatred that many of us thought had disappeared has not made us weaker. Now, it's only strengthened our resolve. We will not sit by and let this go unanswered. All of you here tonight are proof of that, and this is what today's honorees have shown us again and again. You have to know, I don't blame the Jewish organization for not being prepared to cope with this onslaught. Frankly, the World Jewish Congress was not prepared either. We had to learn how to deal with it in real time. But I believe the only way we can fight this shocking wave of anti-Semitism is through education and public relations. All these groups who say they want to fight anti-Semitism really don't know how to do it. And frankly, they're wasting a lot of money. It can only come through education and public relations. Finally, by the way, in public relations, you should know that almost every PR firm in Washington has been taken over by other countries, and it's impossible to find one who will take us. Finally, I want to share a story with you that has stayed with me, and I can't let it go. This past May, I went to Israel for the executive board meeting of the World Jewish Congress. After I finished, I had to fly to another meeting in the Middle East. But a friend stayed and went down to Gaza, where he visited the kibbutzim that were devastated by the October 7th attacks. And he stopped at the site of the Nova Dance Festival. For those of you who haven't seen it there yet, it has been turned into a makeshift memorial. There are stakes in the ground, one for each young person who was slaughtered there that day. Each one so young, each one so good looking and happy, each one with their lives in front of them. These are the 378 stakes in the ground. 378. Just breaks my heart, especially when I think of the additional 1,000 young IDF soldiers who have lost their lives in this war. And still people don't blame Hamas. They blame Israel. This is outrageous. Yet, the young people of Israel are willing and so proud to defend their country. But we cannot just rely on these youngsters to defend the Jewish people alone. We owe it to each of the 378 young people. We owe it to the 1,000 young IDF soldiers who lost their lives in this war. We must do our part. I know everyone in this room already cares as deeply as I do. But we have to wake up to the rest of the world, and we must make them understand there's a fire raging around us. We can't fight it with nice words and lapel pins. Our enemies want to destroy us. They say this every day. When someone tells you they want to destroy you, believe them. When they joyfully kill our children, you fight them with even greater strength. We absolutely must retake our schools and stop anti-Jewish indoctrination. Think education, education, education. And the wider front of the public relations debacle that we have ignored for too long. I don't have the answer. But if we Jews can win Nobel Prizes, defeat Hezbollah and Iran with dazzling innovations, we can absolutely win this as well if we just put our minds to it. The Jewish people have their Pearl Harbor on October 7, 2023. We have two choices: fight back or die. It's as clear as that. I know the choice I am making. I promise you I will fight with my last breath. But I need you to do the same for the sake that we lost, for the sake of our children and grandchildren. We must remember that the 7.5 million Jews in the diaspora do not have an IDF to defend us. Only our defenses and our greatest strength will be a strong public relations and education. I have 4 years left in my term as president of World Jewish Congress. I am determined to leave with a powerful public relations effort. Every Jewish child can grow up being proud of who they are through education. We cannot just say this. We have to really mean it when we say, Am Yisrael Chai, the Jewish people live. The Jewish people will continue to live. So help me God. Thank you.